The late autumn air of Circleville, Ohio, in 1977, was thick with the scent of burning leaves and an undercurrent of unease. It began subtly, with anonymous letters arriving in mailboxes across town. At first, they were dismissed as a crank, a local busybody with too much time on their hands, perhaps a disgruntled former employee or a jealous neighbor nursing an old grudge. Small towns, after all, had their share of eccentrics. But the letters grew darker, more specific, hinting at hidden sins and secret transgressions that sent shivers down the spines of their recipients. The playful taunts quickly morphed into chilling accusations, their tone shifting from mischievous to malevolent. Mary Gillespie, a quiet woman who worked as a school bus driver and was known for her meticulous nature and unassuming demeanor, found one tucked among her utility bills, nestled innocently between the electric statement and a flyer for a grocery store sale. It accused her husband, Ron, a respected school superintendent and a pillar of the community, of an affair with a local school employee. Her hands trembled as she read the scrawled, block capitals, the ink bleeding slightly on the cheap, unlined paper, as if the writer had pressed down with furious intent. The accusation was baseless, she knew, a vile fabrication, but the sheer venom in the words, the unnerving intimacy of the supposed knowledge, chilled her to the bone. It wasn't just a random accusation, it felt deeply personal, as if the writer had peered into the most private corners of their lives, dissecting their routines and knowing their unspoken fears. Ron, a man of imposing stature and an unwavering sense of calm that usually put everyone at ease, tried to dismiss it with a hearty laugh and a dismissive wave of his hand. "Just some nut job, Mary. Don't let it bother you. Probably some disgruntled parent trying to stir up trouble after their kid got suspended." He tried to project an air of unconcern, a facade of indifference, but Mary, ever perceptive and attuned to the subtle shifts in her husband's moods, caught the flicker of worry in his eyes, a brief tightening of the jaw that betrayed his unease. He knew, as she did, that this was no ordinary prank. This felt like a carefully aimed blow, designed to inflict maximum damage. But the letters didn't stop. They escalated, moving from vague accusations to increasingly specific and veiled threats. Ron started receiving them at his office, then at home, sometimes even finding them slipped under the windshield wiper of his car in the school parking lot. Each one seemed to know more, to dig deeper into their lives, revealing intimate details that only someone intimately familiar with their routines, their habits, even their most private conversations, could possibly know. "We know about your late-night calls," one read. "Your secrets are not safe." The once comforting familiarity of Circleville, a quintessential American small town where everyone knew everyone and secrets were hard to keep, began to curdle. Neighbors eyed each other with suspicion, wondering who among them harbored such malice. The friendly waves across fences became hesitant nods, and cheerful greetings were replaced by hushed whispers, as paranoia began to fester like a slow-acting poison, infecting the very fabric of the community. Trust eroded, replaced by a pervasive sense of dread. One stifling summer evening in 1977, the heat clinging to everything like a shroud, Ron received a letter that wasn't just words on a page. It was a stark, chilling message, meticulously cut out from various newspapers and pasted onto a single sheet of paper, the letters jarringly mismatched, like a ransom note. "I know you are seeing your girlfriend. If you don't stop, I will expose you and make you pay." The next day, Ron, a man known for his calm demeanor and unwavering resolve, was found dead in his truck, which had inexplicably crashed into a tree on a quiet, straight stretch of road, miles from anywhere, a road he knew like the back of his hand. The official ruling was an accident, a tragic case of losing control. But Mary, grief-stricken and haunted by the escalating terror of the letters, knew better. The letters, she was convinced, had killed him, whether directly by forcing him off the road in a moment of panic or through the unbearable psychological pressure they inflicted, slowly chipping away at his resilience until he snapped. The terror, however, didn't die with Ron. If anything, it intensified, now squarely aimed at Mary. The letters continued, mocking her grief, celebrating Ron's death, and hinting that she was next. They detailed her daily movements, her sorrow, her agonizing attempts to pick up the pieces of her shattered life, in a way that suggested constant, unseen surveillance. "We know where you go, Mary. We know when you weep. We see you trying to forget. You can't. Her phone rang endlessly, sometimes late into the night, only to be met with disembodied silence or distorted whispers that made her blood run cold, chilling her to the bone. "You're next," a voice would hiss before the line went dead. Her once peaceful home, filled with the warmth of shared memories and the comfort of routine, now felt like a suffocating cage, every shadow a potential threat, every creak of the floorboards a warning from an unseen presence. She lived in a constant state of hypervigilance, her nerves frayed, her every move an anxious calculation. The police were baffled. Leads went nowhere. Interrogations yielded nothing but frustrated sighs and shrugs from seasoned detectives who had seen their share of small-town dramas. The anonymous writer, quickly dubbed the Circleville Letter writer by the local media, seemed to vanish into thin air, a malevolent ghost leaving behind a chilling trail of fear and paranoia that paralyzed the small town. The mystery became an urban legend whispered by teenagers, a blight on Circleville's innocent facade. Mary, desperate and living on a razor's edge, bought a gun, its cold weight a small, meager comfort against the unseen menace that stalked her every waking moment. Sleep became a luxury she rarely afforded, her nights plagued by vivid nightmares of a faceless tormentor whose eyes she could feel on her, even in the darkness of her own bedroom. Years bled into decades. The letters became less frequent, their appearances sporadic, sometimes a year or more passing without a word, lulling Mary into a false sense of security, only to shatter it with another vile missive. Each time one arrived, scrawled with that unmistakable, menacing script, it ripped open old wounds and plunged Mary back into the suffocating nightmare. The town tried to move on, to heal, to forget the dark chapter, but the shadow of the letters loomed large, an open wound that refused to close. Even when a local man, Paul Freshour, Ron's brother-in-law, was eventually convicted of attempted murder related to the letters, he had ties to the Gillespie family and had sent some of the threatening mail, including a booby-trapped pistol to the sheriff. A chilling question remained, festering in the back of everyone's minds: was he the only writer? The style of the letters varied subtly over time, the tone shifting, the penmanship slightly different, and some details in the later ones seemed to predate Freshour's direct involvement or were too specific to be known by someone who had been incarcerated. The consensus in Circleville, a silent, unspoken dread that hung in the air like the coming winter, was that more than one person, or perhaps a different person entirely, was behind the deeper, more insidious campaign, a puppeteer pulling strings from the shadows, enjoying the terror they wrought. The fear never truly left Circleville. It became an ingrained part of its identity, a cautionary tale, a dark stain on the town's history, whispered about in hushed tones around kitchen tables and campfires, a chilling reminder that even in the most idyllic of settings, true malevolence could thrive, unseen and unyielding. The story was passed down from generation to generation, evolving into a modern Gothic horror. And Mary, an old woman by then, her hair silvered and her eyes holding the deep weariness of 1,000 sleepless nights, still checked her mailbox with a tremor in her hands, her heart lurching with every rustle of paper. She still looked over her shoulder whenever she stepped outside, her senses heightened, her every instinct screaming caution, forever wondering if the unseen tormentor was truly gone, or if they were still out there, watching, waiting, and ready to remind her that some secrets, once unearthed, can never be truly buried. The silence that followed the last letter was never a comfort, but a prolonged, terrifying breath held, an agonizing pause before the next, inevitable whisper from the dark. The haunting question lingered in the air, a chilling echo of the past: who else knew? And would they, or the town of Circleville, ever truly be safe from the lingering shadow of the letters?